So picture this. A major religious holiday is underway, and there's a call for peace. At the exact same time, warships are gathering in one of the most critical waterways on the planet. How do those two things happen at once? Well, that's the paradox we're going to unpack today.
Okay, let's start with a message that kicked this all off. On the occasion of Eid al-Fitr, this call for peace came from Mojtaba Khamenei, and it came just days after he became Iran's third ever supreme leader.
But here's the thing. This message of unity and prosperity, it landed right as the drums of war in the Persian Gulf started beating a whole lot louder. And that creates a really stark and frankly dangerous contradiction.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the new leader behind this peace message. Then we'll zoom in on that strategic choke point at the center of everything. We'll get into the escalating war of words. And finally, we'll touch on the very real human cost of all this tension. So let's dive right into that central contradiction. How can you have a public call for peace at the same time that it feels like everyone's getting ready for a fight? Is this a genuine olive branch, or is it something else? That's the question hanging over the entire region right now.
To really make sense of the message, you've got to understand the messenger. So who exactly is Mojtaba Khamenei, the man who just took the helm of the Islamic Republic at, arguably one of the most critical moments possible? And just look at this timeline. It is wild. He's formally presented as leader on March 18th. Just 2 days later, his very first formal message to the world is about peace. And by the 21st, the very next day, the situation in the Gulf is already spiraling. I mean, talk about being thrown right into the fire. Now, you might think a brand new leader would be on shaky ground. But that doesn't seem to be the case here. Iran's key power centers, we're talking the government, the courts, and especially the powerful security and military organizations, they have all reportedly lined up to pledge their allegiance. This signals he has a pretty firm grip on power, right from day one.
Okay, let's shift gears and look at the map, because geography is everything in this conflict. And it all comes down to a very narrow but incredibly important strip of water, the Strait of Hormuz. And this really boils down to two completely opposite goals, doesn't it? For the United States and its allies, the objective is simple. Keep this vital choke point open. Keep global commerce flowing. But for Iran, being able to control that waterway, well, that's their biggest bargaining chip. It's their most powerful piece of leverage if they feel cornered. And then, things took a really serious turn. On Friday, the United Kingdom gave the U.S. the green light to use its military bases for potential strikes against Iran. This is a huge deal. It completely changes the logistics and the potential scale of any military action. And as you'd expect, while all the military posturing is going on, the war of words is heating up too. The public statements from leaders in both Washington and Tehran have gotten a lot more aggressive. President Trump's reaction to the UK's support was telling. He didn't just welcome it, he actually expressed frustration, calling the decision a bit late and saying it should have acted much sooner. That kind of language signals a real impatience in Washington. And he didn't stop with the UK. He then went on his True Social platform and flat out called his NATO allies cowards. He's essentially accusing them of being too reluctant to take risks and get involved in securing the Strait of Hormuz. So how did Iran respond? Their foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, fired right back. He directly accused Washington of making claims that are completely divorced from reality, basically painting a picture of an American narrative that's pure fiction. And he got very specific. He took to social media and started countering American military claims one by one. The U.S. claims Iran's air defense is destroyed. Iran immediately says they just hit a U.S. fighter jet. The U.S. claims Iran's navy is finished. Iran retorts that U.S. aircraft carriers are retreating. This is a full-blown information war, and it's being fought in real time, tweet by tweet. So, with all this high-stakes political chess and military maneuvering, it's really important to remember that this whole situation is having a very real impact on millions of people just trying to live their lives in the region. And this has created a pretty heartbreaking contrast. While much of the world celebrates Eid al-Fitr with joy, reports from the Middle East are describing the mood as one of muted joy. Families are trying to celebrate, but the whole holiday is being overshadowed by this constant, looming threat of war.
So, where does all of this leave us? The situation is incredibly fragile, and it seems to be balanced on 4 key factors that are shaping this crisis right now. So to recap, we have a brand new leader in Iran, and his first big message was about peace,
We have a very old conflict centered on a critical global choke point. We have a war of words that's getting hotter by the day. And, caught in the middle of it all, is an entire population.
And this leaves us with the critical question, doesn't it? With a new leader's call for peace being drowned out by threats of war, is the Persian Gulf really on the brink of a major conflict, or is there still some path back from the edge? The whole world is watching and waiting to find out.